result in reduction of nutrients in the soil. Then soil moisture content is another factor that affects nutrient availability in the soil. Soil moisture content determines the level of nutrients in the soil. High level of soil moisture, that is moisture in water, but not in the water that you can see like in a wet form. You know, wet is different from water. Even though there is a little amount of water attached, that is the soil moisture content that I'm talking about. So when you have high soil moisture content in your soil, it can lead to toxicity of nutrients in the soil and soil erosion, which can wash away the nutrients of the soil. On the other hand, when you have very low moisture, it leads to dryness in the soil and non-availability of nutrients of plants. So your soil moisture content must be balanced, which will help the nutrients availability in the soil. Now, the last factor that affects nutrient availability is level of organic matter or microorganism in the soil. When you have so much organic matter or microorganism in the soil, that will lead to adequate availability of nutrients. You know, they are responsible, the microorganisms that are responsible for decomposition. So they make organic matter available. Then they also ensure good growth of crop. That is, high level of microorganism in the soil ensures good growth of crop. Then organic manure also helps to improve the structure of the soil. Then it reduces rapid soil temperature fluctuation. That is what high level of organic matter does for your soil. Now, we have talked about factors that influence the availability of nutrients in the soil. Now, how can you replenish lost nutrients? You know, there are so many activities like harvesting your crop. You have planted to harvest, definitely nutrients have been lost. So what do you do to replenish such nutrients? That is what we'll be considering here, the methods of replenishing lost nutrients. So the first is crop rotation, next organic manuring, bush fallowing, cover cropping, liming, organic manuring, or fertilizer. So those are the 6 methods of replenishing lost nutrients, and I will explain them in details as we move on in the class. Crop rotation. This is the act of planting deep feeders or deep-rooted crop alongside with surface feeder or surface-rooted crop. Deep-rooted crop or deep feeders are plants that have their roots down into the soil. They grow deep into the soil. That's why they are called deep feeders. An example of such plants, we have yam, okra, cotton. They grow deep into the soil. Then surface feeders are plants that their roots don't go so deep into the soil, so their root is so near to the surface. And examples of such plants, we have maize, groundnuts, cowpea, guinea corn, onion, groundnut. Those are surface feeders or surface rooted crop. So in crop rotation, you plant deep-rooted crop after surface-rooted crop. If you keep planting a deep-rooted crop after deep-rooted crop, you are taking away all your nutrients within a twinkle of an eye. By the time you plant for about 2 seasons, you discover that your nutrients is done for. So this is a crop rotation plan for 4 years on 4 plots. Now we have season, then we have the plots. Look at this. In the first year on plot 1, we planted cassava. Then the next plot planted maize. The next planted yam, then groundnuts. In the second year, you have maize followed by yam, followed by groundnuts and cassava. Then you have yam followed by groundnuts, followed by cassava, then your maize. In the fourth year, you have groundnuts, cassava, maize, then your yam. So when you look critically at this table, you discover that the surface deep-rooted plant follows a deep-rooted plant. You don't find a deep-rooted plant following another deep-rooted plant. Now, what are the conditions that are necessary for practicing crop rotation? When or why should you practice crop rotation? Number 1, when you have scarcity of land, when land is scarce or you have limited supply of land, you should do crop rotation. It will help you to maximize your land. Then when the population is high, that is also a follow-up on the first point, that the population is high, so land is also available. Crop rotation is essential Then when there is a need for you to have different varieties, you know, like plant yam, plant maize, cassava, cowpea, those are varieties of plants. Then when there is a need to maintain soil fertility, then you use crop rotation. Then when the soil is exhausted of nutrients, you also practice crop rotation. The next method of replenishing lost soil nutrients is organic manuring. Organic manure refers to decayed plant and animal products which have been carefully prepared to supply nutrients to plants or crop. So it is decayed plant and animal products that have been carefully prepared that you apply to your farm. That is what organic manure is. Then we have three major types of organic manure. We have the green manure, we have the farmyard manure, we have the compost manure. The green manure is formed from leguminous crops and other fresh plants which are plowed into the soil while they are still growing. Leguminous plants, when they are young, plow them into your soil. So they are still succulent, they are still stalk. So you plow them, like you mix them, turn them over into your soil. So they decay in the soil. The plants have to be plowed in when they are very young, before their flowering stage, so that they will decay rapidly to release nutrients in the soil. Then crops suitable for green manure. You know, I said earlier that you use leguminous crop. You can use mucuna, you can use cowpea, centrosema pubescens is also there. So those are examples of crop you can use. Leguminous crop you can use for green manure. Just plow it when they are young, like you mix them with your soil, so they decay in there and they supply your soil with nutrients. Then the next type of organic manure is farmyard manure. This is a combination of animal waste, such as animal dung and feces, the urine and animal beddings, which collectively undergo series of decomposition before the manure is applied to the soil. So the droppings of animals, their beddings and everything, their fecal material, their urine, you pile them up in a place and they decay. After the decay, then you begin to apply them to your farm. Then poultry birds generally produce manure of a higher nutrient quality than larger animals. Then farmyard manure must be allowed to completely decompose before it is applied to the soil. Else, the yield that decomposition process will produce, if it has not completed, if the process of decomposition is not completed, it will generate it, and that it will burn the roots of your crop. So you have lost your crop. So you have to be careful in applying farmyard manure. You must be sure that the decomposition process is completed before you start applying to your plants. Third type of manure is the compost manure, and it is formed as a result of rotting down of plant and animal remains in heaps or pits before the residue is applied to the soil. Now you bring plant and animal remain into pits, you cover it. So when it has also decomposed, then you bring it to apply to your soil. Two ways you can prepare compost manure: the pit method and the stack method. Pit method is suitable for areas of low rainfall, such as what we have in the savannah, while the stack method is suitable for areas where rainfall is high, such as what we have in the south. So you just bring your plants remains, bring animal remains, put ash, add water, cover it up, level by level by level. Then you pack it very well in the soil, so it will generate it, then decay. After a while, then you can now transfer it to using farm after it has decayed. Now the next way you can replenish lost nutrients in the soil is bush fallowing. This is a practice in which farmlands are left to lie fallow, like a break, after 1 or 2 years of cultivation, to allow nutrients to revert to the soil. Like you have been using your land and just give it a break. This season you are not planting anything on that land. You are doing bush fallowing. You are allowing it to rest so that it will replenish the nutrients it has lost. Then the next way of replenishing nutrients in the soil is cover cropping. Cover cropping is a process of planting certain plants mainly to cover the soil surface to conserve nutrients in the soil. Commonly used cover crops, they are also leguminous plants, just as we used in plowing the other time that I mentioned to you. So commonly used cover crop, we have the mucuna, Ulysses, Puraria, Fasciloides, Centrosema pubescens, Crotalaria, Junkia, then cowpea. Your beans is leguminous plant. So they are the ones that you plant to cover the surface. They spread on the surface of the soil. So they prevent erosion, prevent attack of sunlight. So they cover the soil and helps to prevent leaching. Then the next way to replenish lost soil nutrients is liming. Liming is a process whereby calcium or magnesium containing compounds are added to the soil to reduce soil acidity. Most crops perform well between the pH range of 6 to 8. That's the basic range of pH. Then common liming materials include limestone, quake lime, you have your slake lime, basic lime, dolomite or calcite, calcium bicarbonate, gypsum, then wood ash. Those are common liming materials that you can add to your soil to reduce its acidity. You know, they are basic. So when you add base to acidity, it will reduce the level of acid in the soil. Then the uses of lime in agriculture. 1, it helps to reduce or neutralize soil acidity. Then 2, it helps to increase the activities of soil organisms. Then it makes nutrients like calcium